What's up everyone, I'm Tony Dunst, back with another video blog. I'm starting things in Las Vegas, but I'll be heading to Los Angeles. Before we get into that though, I have to start this video with some terrible news. The test came back positive! No, but I did lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. Oh, thank God. Wait, what? Yeah, in the last video, I talked about how well cash went in 2018 and all the money I had made, but unfortunately, in the bigger picture, I've actually been down a lot of money at poker over the last few years. That's because over most of my career, I've been a tournament player, and a lot of my volume over the last 3 years was still at tournament poker. It's currently the beginning of 2019, and I haven't made a final table of a poker tournament since the summer of 2016 when I won a World Series bracelet. Sick brags. I had a great stretch of results over the first 6 months of 2016. I had a final table at the Aussie Millions where I finished second, a final table in a couple of WPT events, and it culminated with the bracelet win at the World Series that summer. However, since then, I've played a ton of tournaments and don't have a single cash over $21,000, which means during that time, I'm definitely down 6 figures at tournaments. Exactly how much, I'm not really sure. I'd have to go back over my taxes. There's a lot of accounting. I sold percentages to people. It's a whole bunch of math and I don't care enough to do it for this video. But I can say that those 2.5 years of losing at tournament poker is starting to sting, not only for my bankroll, but for my confidence. So part of the motivation for starting a video blog was to push myself to play more tournaments, play more cash games, study the game of poker, and see what happens over the next 6 to 12 months living here in Las Vegas. There's actually a great schedule of events coming up. Things are going down at the Venetian, at the Wynn. WPT's having their first event coming up at the Venetian in March. I want to say the World Series circuit is in town at some point. So I will have an opportunity to play plenty of events on my home turf. But first, I'm gonna head to the WPT 10K at Gardens Casino in Los Angeles. I did not expect to go to the event. I was actually planning on perhaps going to the Draftkings Sports Betting National Championship thingy that's going on this weekend, but the WPT called up and said, hey, we'd love for you to be there and we kind of need you to be, so please be there on Saturday. And I said, all right. I'll sell off some action, get my way into this tournament, and that will be a great way to sort of start the ball rolling on this vlog and see what happens with my tournament results over the next 6 months. I'm not gonna lie, a 10K buy-in is pretty expensive for me, but I think you need like $1 million to actually just be firing 100% of yourself in large field 10K. So I sold off enough percent to make myself feel comfortable. I want to leave a little bit to swap with. I will fly off to Los Angeles tomorrow and bring you guys along on the trip, show you where I go, what the casino is like, the games that I play, who I'm playing with, the people that I'm around, and we will see what happens in this 10K. More to come. Good morning from Gardens Casino. We are here for 1A of the WPT $10,000 buy-in main event. I will not be playing today. I'm just going to enjoy the football, make some last-minute adjustments to my daily fantasy sports lineups, and give a shuffle up and deal announcement at 2 p.m. We used to do these at noon, but then too many poker players would show up late and we'd be giving an announcement to like 20 people. So now we do it at the first break at 2 p.m., which requires that I spend the night before memorizing a speech full of names and positions. So oftentimes the night before an event, I might run into a whole bunch of poker players and like, hey, come out and do this, come out and do that, come out and have a drink. And it's like, no, I need to go home and spend 1 to 2 hours repeating a speech over and over again until I can give it smoothly a couple days in a row. That said, there's gonna be some really good satellites going on here, just like there was yesterday, so I'll try and win my way in. Otherwise, I have sold enough action to buy in tomorrow. The main event is about to start up behind me, but I've got about 90 minutes before the first football game kicks off this weekend, which means contest will lock across the daily fantasy sports sites, and I need to make the final adjustments to my teams. So the first game today is the Colts at the Chiefs, and what projects to be the highest scoring game of the weekend, and will therefore draw the most ownership in daily fantasy sports contests. So a really common stack might be something like Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, with Travis Kelce at tight end, Tyreek Hill at receiver, and maybe you throw in a T.Y. Hilton or a Marlon Mack or an Eric Ebron coming back from the Colts. So if you're gonna have one of those stacks with a lot of players that are really chalky, really high owned, then you need to think about how to differentiate your stack in the other positions so that if those really chalky high owned players go off, you actually have a shot of winning instead of just having your best performers overlap with a lot of other teams and it just being kind of a coin flip about who has the other pieces that really hit. So in order to do that, you want to create a balance, a sort of composition of high-owned players and low-owned players on most of your teams. So on a stack like I just described with Mahomes, some of the best receiving options, at your running back and defense position, you might want to go with a more contrarian take to the weekend. For example, the Dallas Cowboys are underdogs traveling to Los Angeles. Zeke, of course, will get a high volume of touches and will be a very popular play, but the Dallas Cowboys defense won't be nearly as popular. So on a really high-owned stack, like I described with Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and T.Y. Hilton and all the best plays, you need to take some intentionally bad plays just to differentiate your lineup, ideally in a format that is correlated. So on the team that I constructed with that stack, the way that I made it lower owned was by adding Sony Michel, one of the Patriots running back by committee running backs, and the Patriots defense, because I think there's a strong correlation between the Patriots pitching a sort of shutout or a dominant defensive performance and giving Sony Michel a lot of touches. And then I included, instead of T.Y. Hilton coming back on that stack, I have Chester Rogers, who is the slot receiver for the Colts, and I expect him to be much lower owned than T.Y. Hilton, even though obviously T.Y. Hilton is the superior play. Now, whether my strategy will work out today is yet to be seen, but 90 minutes from now, we'll start getting a clue. It's Sunday morning, and I'm watching some football. It's playoffs. The daily fantasy sports contests are looking not bad, not great. You really wanted to have Damian Williams, the Chiefs D, and then kind of the right pieces from the early games, but nobody went crazy huge in those games. Right now, the Patriots game is surprisingly high scoring with the San Diego Chargers. So Sony Michel has 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. Nobody's going to really be on him, and I've got a little bit of exposure. But right now, my best hope for a big score in daily fantasy sports is if Drew Brees and a stack of Kamara, Michael Thomas, Ted Ginn goes off with Zach Ertz coming back. I got a really good team on Yahoo, could win me a bunch of money. We'll see about that. I do have some bad news about the poker tournament. It turns out I have a work conflict for the World Poker Tour on Wednesday, which would be day 4 of the 10K here at Gardens. So I will not be able to play. Instead, I was playing satellites yesterday, mostly with Kitty Koo and Randall Emmett. Kitty is a longtime professional poker player. She's Taiwanese and maybe the funniest person I know on Twitter. Maybe her, maybe Jamie Kersetter. And Randall Emmett is a film and television producer here in Hollywood who just kind of loves to gamble, play around. So that was pretty interesting. Maybe I can splice together a few clips from those games or from my Instagram story, because there was a lot of trash talk going on. Either way, I got stuck like $9,000 in these satellites. I got crushed by those two. It went really poorly. So today I'll be back in the casino. Maybe we'll get a few more sit and goes going. Fingers crossed that my Drew Brees super stack works out. And too bad about the tournament, but that's okay. A lot of good poker coming up in Las Vegas over the next couple of months. We are back here at the Gardens Casino, and the game is a total blowout this morning, so I thought I'd hang out with Ivy a little bit because she's got a bracelet I want to talk about. This is a gambling vlog, and your bracelet is not only like kind of ball and level expensive, but more importantly, there was sort of a understanding. It was a bracelet given to you as a gift, right? An ex-boyfriend? Correct? You're dying here. Will you keep it together?
Okay,
You're supposed to be a professional.
Yes.
Okay, right? Tell me about this bracelet and what's special about it.
It's a Cartier, basically. It's called the Love Bracelet.
Okay.
So when someone actually gives you this bracelet, it means they love you.
I see.
Or you force them to get you one.
Okay.
So why not? Costs about, give or take, 7 without the diamonds. This is the cheapest you can get.
The cheapest you can get. That is the cheapest version of that bracelet.
Exactly.
But you were telling me that you can't remove the bracelet?
So yeah, the whole actually concept of the Love Bracelet is actually when someone gave it to you, right? They're putting it on your wrist because it's a symbol of love.
Right.
Except it's locked in.
Locked in.
With a screw.
Because you always own the things you love, right?
Oh, wait, I didn't think about that. You just totally
blew your mind. Well, please continue.
Yeah, you just like marked me. Anyways, yeah, so that's what happens. So if you go, you want to just take it off, it doesn't just come off. Usually the person that gave it to you keep the key, which is a screwdriver.
Okay.
That matches perfectly with the screw on your bracelet.
I see.
So I'm kind of stuck because I can't take it off.
So what if you want to go through like TSA, you got to go to the airport, you got to take this bracelet off, but your boyfriend or ex-boyfriend isn't there?
You're screwed, like literally.
And you just don't get on the flight?
Yeah, why not? No, I was kidding. They usually let me. give him a smile. Like,
and that's all it takes? That's really good to know. That's how secure we are in this country. If you were a terrorist, Ivy, we'd all be dead by now. Okay, great. Well, thanks for coming on today.
You're welcome.
Of course.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, anytime. All right, everyone. My job responsibilities at the Gardens Casino are over. I'm here with Scott Blumstein, who has like 120K in the main event.
118.
So you shaved a little off there, but that's triple starting stack, and this is like a very slow structured tournament. And we're both big believers that going deep in tournaments, performing well in tournaments, has as much to do with your mindset, your patience, how you feel going in, as it does your preparation. So tonight we were planning on relaxing, making sure you get enough sleep. I'm gonna head back to Vegas, but we're gonna do some study, watch some strategy videos. I gotta run it one subscription, and I have a lot of poker coming up over the next few months, so I'm just gonna try and get my mind in the right place, make sure that I am ready to go in all these events that I'm gonna play. Hopefully you make a deep run in this one too.
Yeah, and even if like I specifically, might think about a spot differently than some other people myself, it's like definitely important to like hear everyone's options, right? If it's there, these smart winning players are like saying this is how I do it, like why would I not, at least entertain what they have to say? So like that's what studying is for me, and like so even just I haven't been playing that much lately. I'm not as sharp as and
guys who play every day, all day, 6 days a week.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, even like the night right before, just a quick crash course on like some spots that might, you never know, tomorrow something comes up and I saw it on a Run It Once video, and now I just have a better idea of what I should do.
Well, ideally, you don't have any tough spots the next few days. You just like run like God, smash people, and then make the final table.
I have a feeling with this structure, in this field, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think you're gonna have to battle.
All right, well, we will fire up these videos in a minute, and we'll keep track of your chip counts as the days go on. Hopefully some good updates to add to the video as we continue, and if not, I'll edit this out and act like it never happened. Okay, I have made it back to Vegas, and while it is disappointing that I didn't get to play the Gardens WPT main event, there is plenty of poker tournaments coming up here in Las Vegas in the next few months, so a lot of gambling to come here in this vlog. But I definitely cannot finish up this video without discussing what happened at the Draftkings National Sports Betting Championship. The event was this weekend. As I said at the beginning of the blog, I was planning to go, but then I had the work conflict with the WPT over at the Gardens. So the event ended up having a pretty significant overlay in the area of about $1 million, and they had guaranteed a $2.5 million prize pool. And the event generated a lot of positive publicity until the final day when something really awkward happened. There were players who had ascended the leaderboard. There was one player in particular named Rufus Peabody who was the leader going into the final game of the day. However, he had gone all in on the Patriots-Chargers game and had won his bet and was waiting for it to process while the second game started. As it turns out, a number of players experienced the same issue where their bets were still being processed from the previous game while the second game on Sunday locked, and so they were unable to make a final wager. So Rufus was in excellent position following the Patriots game and was apparently planning to make some kind of bet on the Saints or the under in that game, and feels that the lack of opportunity to make that bet cost him the $1 million first prize. So there was some negative attention and controversy surrounding the event. In fact, it even made it to the front page of ESPN.com. And while I think that casts a negative light on the sports betting and daily fantasy sports industry for the moment, I think the overall popularity of this contest means that we will likely see repeats move across the nation, and that DraftKings, FanDuel, whoever else will be running a lot of these in the future. Now, do I think that DraftKings owes it to their players or owes it to Rufus Peabody to compensate him in some form or to pay him back the EV that he lost from their malfunction? I'm not really sure. I'm guessing that they wrote into the contest rules that in the event of such a circumstance, if the contest just plays out as it were. Obviously, it doesn't look ideal for them, and from a public relations standpoint, perhaps they try and offer him some kind of package to a future event or give him a reward of some other kind in order to spin a potentially negative outcome into at least a neutral or maybe a positive one. I read the article on ESPN.com. Peabody neglected to say whether he contacted a lawyer. I really doubt that he would have much of a case or that he would actually pursue one, as he probably signed a waiver going into the contest that, like I said, meant that if something like this happened, he would be out of luck. So a really bad beat for this guy, Rufus Peabody, and it sounds like he overall had a really good time at the event, at the contest, that a lot of the other talk I saw in the daily fantasy sports and sports betting industry said it was a really cool format, and it was awesome to see all of these people debating online, how do I construct my strategy for this contest? What games do I need to be betting on? Should I be going all in early? Should I be holding on to my funds? What kind of number do I need to finish with? So I'm really looking forward to getting to play something like that in the future. Hopefully there are no malfunctions, but I doubt it. I think DraftKings and whoever else will probably learn from this. We'll do another vlog later this week. I'm traveling to Los Angeles to do some commentary with Vince Van Patten for the World Poker Tour, and then I'll be back here leading up to the AFC and NFC Championship game, which I am sure will mean some good cash games this weekend. So if you've enjoyed this vlog, make sure to subscribe below, and I'll have more great gambling content coming your way.